Okay, here we go.
Council's reconvening at 8:33. The borough has been working, the Public Safety Committee and the borough have been working on a borough action plan for COVID-19. There is a 6-page action plan, and I would like to ask for a motion to approve it. Councilman Balliet, seconded by Councilman Hart. Any discussion on this? It covers all the departments, Borough Hall, and it will be made to the public.
Yeah, I think maybe we should maybe outline it a little bit.
I'll let you do that.
Because I don't think they have access to it in their binders. Yeah, I don't think they have access to it in their binders because of the legal and personnel stuff that we had.
Does the copier work here? I could try to
so-
make it for him then.
The one downstairs doesn't, that one may have dried up.
Okay.
So first and foremost, I think one of the big things is we are going to shut down this building to the public effective Wednesday. We are going to put things in place. We're going to do a call out to the public, and we'll do some releases at the same.
A robocall to all.
We'll
A
do
robocall to
robocall.
all the households in the borough.
We will be putting things in place where people will still be able to drop off their bills, drop off things like plans, drop off other items that we had, because we had the vestibule open all the time. You can already drop off your water and sewer bill in the middle of the night at the vestibule. So we will have that set up. We will add additional boxes and things for larger documents, those kinds of things. We've put in place, we're going to be limiting different kinds of inspections for our inspectors. We'll also be making phone calls to the properties that we have to absolutely visit. For example, a construction inspection. You know, we'll have a list of protocol questions that we're going to ask the property owner and/or the contractor of any kind of symptoms, et cetera, to try to protect our employees as well as the public. We have some protocols that our emergency services have put in place for our ambulance and fire staff, and our police department also put in a new set of protocols to handle possible cases, and that goes from the type of equipment that we're using to a specific ambulance to answer specific calls, to the types of supplies, the types of clothing that they're wearing into the building, as well as the number of manpower that initially enters the building. That will be reduced. So for example, if we have somebody that has flu-like symptoms reporting a 911 call, we will send a single paramedic in rather than 2 or 3 people that we normally send in to do the initial diagnosis, and then
Somebody calls sick.
Yeah, so we get a lot of 911 calls of people that are sick, and we anticipate that with I would say with more panic-stricken people, we're going to see increased numbers of 911 calls, even though they may not have needed to call 911.
You say you have a different ambulance?
We have a different ambulance.
So you have one like waiting just for those?
We have one
calls?
waiting just for those kinds of calls, and it's specially equipped.
Is this the one with the sectioned off
Yes.
the
Yes.
drugs where you can't touch them?
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
you're telling me. And what is that exactly? They did, it's just partitioned off.
Yes.
Okay.
So we will be, I mean, we're taking all precautions that we can. Obviously, we have a lot of protocols that we're putting in place. We have a lot, you know, we were speaking earlier that for everything that we've talked about a week ago, it's already outdated. Information that I sent to them last night at midnight, like the numbers are already inaccurate. So we're going to be adjusting as we go. At this point, we will reassess at the beginning of April. Our plan is to still have a council meeting the first Monday of April. If that changes, we'll do a press release notifying the press and the public if it changes. We may change the way that we are handling council meetings and virtualize some of it. At this point, we will not for the first meeting in April. I'm not sure that we'll have the protocols or the hardware in place yet. But depending on how things progress, you know, the usual crowd wasn't here tonight. We had one individual in the crowd. I mean, that speaks to, you know, the fear that I think people have. But to put a platform in place where we'll still be able to have a public meeting. I think we're going to be canceling the majority of our committee meetings, or we'll virtualize the majority of our committee meetings moving forward. Again, those are things that we are working on getting in place as we speak. We have some different protocols in our facilities. We have some different protocols in terms of even council interaction with our employees, as well as outside people. We will be canceling just about all of our commission meetings. The only two boards that really have to meet are the Planning Commission and the Zoning Hearing Board, because they're governed by law of timelines that they have to meet. And unless the state legislature puts out emergency orders saying that we don't have to follow those. For example, if someone puts out, you know, a contractor puts out a proposed building plan, we have 90 days to go from front to end on reviewing that plan and taking it through the approval process. Nothing in the state legislature has forgiven us from doing that at this point. Borough council meetings by law have to meet once a month. We have to have 4 people present in the room. That's what the law says, as opposed to a township where you could just have a great big speaker and everybody could talk from home. We have to have 4 people in the room. So we are working on how we are going, if needed, moving forward, how we're going to handle that. Whether it's, you know, everybody that can make it be here, or whether it's we'll bring 4 people in, the other 3 can dial in, and we'll virtualize the meeting as much as we can. We're working on those details. We have no real answers to that yet. But at this point, we've also put in line of what our communications procedures will be, who the front lines of communications of announcing things will be. In particular, I will handle most of our spokesperson items. If I'm not present, it'll be our Deputy Director of Emergency Services / Emergency Management Coordinator, Keith Miller. And if it's not him, it'll be Mayor Gilbert. And we have on down the list of, if one of us isn't here, who the next person is on the list. So we've provided outlines for that. We still have to comply with all state and federal laws until the state and federal government tell us not to. So we will follow all open records, all public meetings laws, and all requirements by the municipality's planning code, as well as any other laws that we have to follow to move forward. This is obviously something that's new to all of us, something that's different, something that I never thought I'd see. But to do our part in the whole matter, these are the procedures that we think are necessary for us. My biggest concern is, you know, for our staff in dealing with the public, in particular, our 3 sets of emergency services. As you know, our EMTs and paramedics are the first ones at the house. Our police department usually isn't far behind, and our fire department's not far behind them. And how quickly the spread of something could occur if they do encounter a person that's infected. And so part of this action plan that we have is how we proceed if a large portion of any of our departments have to be either quarantined or, you know, for that matter, are infected. And how do we ensure continuity of services moving forward? Because the last thing that we want to see is somebody call 911 and we can't respond because 2/3 of my department is out sick. So, you know, part of this plan is putting continuity of services in place with some of our fellow municipalities and adjoining ambulance and fire services, as well as, you know, going as far as making sure that, you know, we can utilize the Pennsylvania State Police if we absolutely had to. Again, we don't have anybody that we know of that's infected, but we have to have the procedures in place that if, in case something does happen, we're prepared for it as much as possible. So I think that covers
All right, there's still a motion on the floor.
as much of it as we can.
Any other comments or additions to that? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 6 ayes. Do we have anything else to bring forward? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilman Andrews. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 6 ayes. Meeting adjourned at 8:44. Thank you, Shanna, for participating.
Thank you.
Bye, Shana.
Bye, Shanna.